Thanks so much for clicking on the video. My name is Leah, and let's recap the final episode in season 5 of Real Housewives of Miami. This is episode 19 and the third part of the reunion. So let's get into it. All right, y'all. So the episode opens up where it left off, where Kiki is pretty much telling Lisa, sis, everybody knows your man is a whore. Everybody knows he be in these streets, and it's been known for a while. So they're still talking about Lisa hosting the annual Halloween party with Lenny and how it doesn't make sense that she even hosted this party with him, because it's like, girl, you going through what you're going through. Why would you even have this party with him? And Lisa's response is like, I didn't know if I could tell him no or like yes, because like he still owns the house. So she was just like, I just felt like it is what it is. So Kiki pretty much tells us that I've been invited to these annual Halloween parties for a while now, but it's always been like through a third party, or I've been a plus one. And I'm in the modeling industry, and I know a few of the models that have messed around with him because of these parties. Like he's met them at these parties. So then the conversation continues, and they're like, Lisa, do you feel like these parties, like why were you allowing Lenny to have these parties? And Lisa was like, I feel like it was like a speed dating ground for him to like just see who he wanted to get with. And Lisa ends up saying that, like, you know, I thought things were pretty much cool with us. Like, I didn't really see all of this. So Alexia chimes in, and she was like, I hate when people try to say that, like, you're in denial or you're, like, deflecting, when she was just, Alexia's whole thing is, like, maybe Lisa really thought they were in a good place because she already knew about that one infidelity situation, but it seemed like they were working on getting better. So maybe that's what all that she was focused on. And Alexia's like, I've been through it. Like, so I know what it is. I know how it is. So they continue talking about the parties, and pretty much everyone's on the same page where they were like, yeah, them parties were a bit much. Like, they didn't need to happen, or it didn't need to be to that extent, or he didn't need to invite these women all the time. Like Marisol said, her and her man didn't even go, and she, even before she had man, we wasn't going to them things. So the next thing they talk about is how everyone rallied behind Lisa and how it was nice to really see. And I think that's one of the nicest parts about this show, is watching them like really have Lisa's back. Like, even though you can tell there's already like a fractured group, you know, the way the couches are set up, you know, who on whose side and who on the other side. But it was nice that everyone had her back. Lisa said that people, like, everyone was calling and checking on her to see how she was doing. She ends up letting us know that Larsa was able to get the restraining order that the girlfriend had against her dropped. And that's another thing. I call BS on Lisa saying she really didn't know what was going on with her man, because Lisa gives that she's that type of woman that will copy her man's phone and get all his messages sent to her phone as the messages are originally sent to his phone. Finding out that Lisa was trolling the girlfriend, the now girlfriend, under like a fake account, and that was part of the reason why they got a restraining order. Lisa knew what was going on. I think Lisa is the type of woman that enjoyed her lifestyle and felt like, okay, as long as the cheating didn't get too disrespectful, I'ma stick around. Because there's a lot of women and men who are in those types of situations where it's like, there's an understanding that as long as they can live the lifestyle that is promised to them, that they don't have an issue with their partner doing whatever, as long as they're respectful. Like, they talk about a respectful way of cheating. Technically, that's an oxymoron, but it's pretty much saying that, like, there's rules and regulations as to the way we gonna move as a couple when it comes to you being out here in everybody's bed, pretty much. And I think Lenny got to the point where he was just over it. Because I didn't mention it in my part 2 or part 1 reunion, but I think they, I don't know which part it was, but Lisa ends up telling us that Lenny was going to like file for divorce anyway. Like, he was already planning to file for a divorce from her, but he was going to do it after the show. But after she came home that night from like hanging out with her friends and she was like drunk or whatever, he was so disgusted by her that he was just like, yo, no, I want a divorce. I want a divorce. And oftentimes they would argue about divorce, mainly because Lisa was tired of having those parties. She even said like that would always spark the divorce conversation between them. So everyone's just like, yeah, girl, cut your losses and move on. She ends up trying to like downplay herself about her looks, but Lisa is pretty. And everyone's like, girl, don't even worry about how you look last season. The filler ain't in there no more and you look fine. And I think I said Larsa was able to get her restraining order dropped. from that girl. So Larsa is the MVP that she got that drop. We found out she was on the phone for like 8 hours trying to help Lisa out. So I think that's great that there's real friendships in these groups, especially in these groups within the bigger group. There's people got each other's back. So we move on from that conversation and they start talking about the gringo dinners. And someone said how they loved that Marisol and Alexia loved their gringo husbands. And it was funny to me because I don't know. I really felt like Alexia, more so Marisol, would be like race loyal when it came to like dating. But Marisol lets us know she dated Arab men, Muslim men, and Turkish men. But her daddy ultimately wanted her to be with an American man, basically a white man. Like, we just going to have to call a thing. And she was like, maybe he's upstairs in heaven smiling down on her. But Alexia was saying like her mom was pushing her to be with a gringo because she was like, if you get with a gringo, like all your cousins who are still married are married to gringos. So get you a gringo. But I was just surprised. I was like, okay, Marisol like brown men. She like all different flavors of brown men. So I was just kind of surprised that she, like, I don't know. I just thought they would be race loyal. So they started talking about the dinner. And Anthony wants to know, like, has Anthony and Todd, like, are they cool now? And Alexia was like, not really. And she brings up how she saw Nicole and Anthony at, like, I guess a bar. And Anthony pretty much, like, I guess Alexia was trying to check Anthony about what he did. And Anthony pretty much told Alexia, girl, I say what I want, when I want, how I want. I'm the only mother effer on this stage. Me and Nicole are the only mother effers in this group that have real jobs. And Nicole's rebuttal to that is like, Anthony was like, Nicole says that Alexia ran up on them and was like, ooh, you guys are in trouble, being annoying. And the thing about it is Alexia constantly wants people to kiss the ring and no one wants to do that. Alexia, who are you? She be stuck in that queen pin mentality. Like, girl, no, you're nobody. No one wants to kiss your ring. But I will say there's something about Nicole and Anthony that oozes superiority and condescendingness. I don't even know if condescendingness is a word, but they come out very condescending when it comes to certain people in this group. Now, granted, people who have jobs like that are lawyers or attorneys or doctors, a lot of them have those mindsets, a superiority mindset. It's because like I went the academic route, I've been in school, I know a lot. They have that energy. But to say that you and Nicole are the only ones on this cast that have like real jobs is a reach when you have Gertie and Russell. Gertie is an event planner that is getting like awarded awards for how wonderful she is at her job. Russell's a firefighter. You got Lenny, who's a surgeon, so another doctor. Larsa does OnlyFans, and OnlyFans is a job because she making money to live in that penthouse. Kiki is a model. The only people we don't know who do anything is Lisa, what's her name, Adriana, and Marisol, and Julia. Even Alexia got the nail salon thing. So it's like, you can't be like, we're the only ones with real jobs and I can say what I want. But I was kind of taken aback that Nicole didn't say nothing or check Larsa or Alexia, because Larsa called Anthony a bitch. She said Anthony's a bitch. Then she said that you had Alexia calling him Antonia because she was like, any man that's gonna argue with a woman like that, that's like, he a female. And I'm looking at Nicole like, you not gonna say nothing? We not gonna check them for what they're saying about your man? Sis, you've been my man this whole time. Check them, okay? Because they need to be checked. But I think Nicole's just gonna let Anthony continue to disrespect Larsa and Alexia when they film, because that's what they're really mad about. More so, Larsa is mad that Anthony been saying out of pocket stuff about her, and she feels like at this point, bro, you pulling it, you reaching. Like the comment was said, we moved on from it, and now every 5 minutes you talking about I'm a whore and like it's enough. It's enough. Enough is enough. But I was surprised she ain't say nothing, because I'd have checked them. I'm like, what you not gonna do is call my man out his name. But that's just me. This is me. The one that ain't got no man. So, Andy ends up like shutting that conversation down. They end up going back to Kiki because we find out Kiki gonna get kicked off after this segment, and they gonna continue with just Marisol and Adriana and the rest of the crew on the stage. They asked Kiki about like, girl, why were you like screaming the way you was screaming? when they did the whole, releasing all the bad energy. And we find out that Kiki is a mom of two. She's by herself taking care of her kids, and she's a model. And then the modeling agency is up and down. Sometimes you have work consistently, and sometimes you don't. And she's just like, anything I can do to get the bad vibes out, I'm gonna do it. So I thought that was cool. I was like, I didn't know she had two kids. I thought she only had one, because I remember us seeing the little girl last season. I don't remember her mentioning having another kid. They then start talking about Marisol's like spirituality and stuff like that. And Marisol pretty much is like, yeah, my mom was real spiritual and I'm real spiritual. They then start to ask Marisol about the rocks and why she threw them out the window or threw them away when it came to Julia and Adriana. And Marisol was like, no, it was nothing against them. I just didn't want anything because my spirit was already shaken. Like, I already felt spooky. I hadn't felt my mom. And she said the last time I really felt her, or really felt her back around me, was in Thailand. So we find out that they had already filmed Ultimate Girls Trip before they filmed the reunion. And Nicole was like, what do you mean when you said you didn't feel your mom? And she said, like, and Marisol's like, sometimes my heart just feels like very shaky. When I feel her, I feel calm, I feel steady. And Marisol was like, I don't feel like anything against you, Julia. I even said that in my confessional. I didn't feel like you were putting out negative vibes. I didn't want any of that around me. And then Adriana was like, so you think I would have gave you negative vibes? And she's like, yeah, girl, you're Brazilian. Y'all in brujeria. And I was like, okay, y'all, we got to stop throwing them stereotypes out. We just got to stop doing that. We just got to. Because it's the same thing when people have stereotypes for like other ethnicities that are very like damaging. And I was just like, Marisol, chill with that. But I also got to remember they're all of a certain age. These women are almost in their 60s. And, the people in their 50s and 60s be acting, it'd be hard for them to change. But I was like, we got to stop doing that, Marisol. I liked you, lady, but you got to chill on that. You got to chill all the way on that. So, and the whole time, Marisol was like sipping on a cup. It better have been water in that cup and not vodka or tequila, sis. Better have been water in that cup. And so she was just like, yeah, and they go back and forth. But then before they even got to that conversation, they asked about Larsa's atrocious braids. And my thing is, like, I didn't have like such a big deal about Larsa's braids, but them braids were ugly. They didn't match her hair. Larsa starts talking about how she has like a personal braider, which I would love to have a personal braider come and do my hair. I ain't got to fight like the Hunger Games to get a spot to get my hair done. And it's a consistent price all the way through. But she's like, yeah, so we have a personal braider that comes and does my kids' hair like at least once or twice a month. And she was like, and Andy's like, you don't feel like that's like a cultural appropriation? And she's like, I'm Lebanese, I'm not white. And I'm like, Larsa, anybody can culturally appropriate. Black people can culturally appropriate. Girl, the hair wasn't matching your head. It just, don't be playing in people's culture, sis. And then Andy asked Kiki, like, how do you feel about what Larsa had on? And she's like, oh, if the hairstyle looks good, I don't think there's an issue. I'm like, Kiki, don't be co-signing that BS. And it brings up a bigger like topic about how like the Black diaspora, how Black Americans have a totally different understanding about a cultural appropriation versus people who are Black that immigrate to America. Their lens about it is totally different too. But I was just like, Kiki, don't be co-signing no bull like that. And I also was looking at Andy, why don't you ask Gertie? But maybe he didn't feel like asking Gertie. Either way, them braids wasn't cute on her head. I cackled when Andy was like, because Larsa was like, well, my kids get their hair done all the time. And Andy was like, but your kids are mixed. They're Black. I was like, clock it, Andy. Andy basically said, sis, you're not Black. It's okay for them to get braids. You're not. You're not. And I wasn't that surprised because Larsa hung out with the Kardashians and we know how the Kardashians act and we know what they give. So when I saw the braids, I was just like, they don't match. If you're going to put them things in your head, make sure they match. Make sure they match. So they end up sending Kiki off on her way. They offer her like a burger. I think it was a Whopper because of the bag. But then, Walmart got brown bag. Not Walmart, but McDonald's got brown bags. Either way, it was either a Big Mac or a Whopper. But before she left the stage, Julia ends up apologizing to her about calling her a bird and saying that she wished she would have invited her to her housewarming party, and she loves her, and like she loves the light that Kiki brings. She also was like, you know, how can I make it up to you? And Kiki was like, you take me on a date, you and Martina, and we have a good time. So that ended the Kiki segment. They continue the conversation about like spirituality. They talk about Mama Elsa, which Mama Elsa was so eccentric to me when I remember watching the show when I was younger, and I just thought that lady was so weird. But being older, I realized certain people do really be connected to like that other realm, because I do believe there's like a physical realm and then there's a spiritual realm where you have like the universe, God, and like your ancestors all working to help you throughout like being here in like the physical. But I really feel like that lady was connected, because she ain't tell no lies about Andy though, because Andy ain't met no man yet. But I thought it was nice when he said my story's not done yet, which I think is sweet. Maybe he has found somebody and we just don't know about him. But they talk about Gertie and you know how she's doing. She's gotten all these awards, being featured in all these magazines for her event planning, and she accredits the show to teaching her that she needs to slow down and it's quantity over quality. She's now going to doing only 5 weddings a year instead of 15 weddings. And she has like a speaking engagement in Qatar, and she's gonna hop over and go see Lisa in Dubai from Real Housewives of Dubai. She talks about how, you know, seeing Russell speak up and voice how he was feeling about how I was dropping the ball with the kids and with him, it meant a lot. Like, it hurt me, but it meant a lot. She gets emotional, and it just came out of nowhere, where she was like, I don't want to lose Russell. But then it flipped when Andy asked her, like, so what are you doing to like not have that happen? And she immediately, like, it's like she went back to being okay. I don't know, it's something about Gertie when she gets emotional, it does not connect with me. And maybe it's because I feel like Gertie is playing a character and not her real self, but it just didn't resonate with me. I would love to see Gertie on like the show, like David Turturro's show, like when he would do event planning and weddings. Like, I think she would really shine there. But on this show, it's just something there for me just does not connect with Gertie. It just does not connect with me. But I would love to see her work, because the pictures that they show of Gertie and the way we saw her do the last event for the cast, like the last like cast event on the last episode of this season, or the official not the official, but you know, the end of the season episode, was so like it was great to watch her work. Like, I just loved watching her work. So it's just like I would rather see her do that than be on this type of show. But they move. So we get to the conversation between Alexia, Marisol, and Adriana. And while they're rolling the bean footage of like seasons 1 through 3 of all these special moments that Adriana, Alexia, and Marisol have shared when they got married and all these pivotal moments, you can visibly see Adriana and Marisol getting like sad and like tearing up. Alexia looked like she couldn't be bothered. And once they stopped the footage, Andy asked Marisol, like, why are you getting emotional? Like, what's like, what are you feeling? And Marisol was like, we used to be such wonderful friends, and now we're this. And Adriana's like, why can't we be that anymore? And Marisol's like, girl, because you really tried to hurt me. So they bring up the whole, like, you know, the boyfriend comment that Adriana made. We find out that Adriana kept saying that man never loved Marisol. And a lot of people are like, well, why do you care, Marisol? That was 5 years ago. And it's like, yeah, it was 5 years ago, but to keep blatantly saying he never loved you. He never loved you. And it could be triggering for Marisol, because that was an abusive relationship. So it's like, she probably know that man never loved her. But to be like, he never loved you, girl. He never loved you. Yeah, you saying that to be nasty. Like, giving these passes to Adriana because she's in a dark place is not fair to everybody else, because everybody else could be like, I'm in a dark place. That's why I'm being nasty. And we don't normally take that. So Marisol was like, you get dark, like you got real dark. And Adriana's like, I got dark all of a sudden now. And Marisol's like, no, like before then I used to make excuses for you. I used to say, oh, that's just Adriana, like she's just funny, yada yada yada. But you came out to hurt me, and I ain't done nothing really to you like that. Honestly, Marisol really ain't done nothing to Adriana. It's really Alexia, but I guess Marisol was collateral damage. So then Alexia chimes in and she's like, Adriana, you're fake. You're fake. You're a fraud. Like, we should have listened to Leah Black. And I forgot that Leah Black and Adriana used to be real cool. And now they weren't cool after season 3 because Leah Black was going around telling everyone that Adriana lied about Ferdinand, that like when they got married in 2013 that they had already been married in 2008 and that they only got married for the show and they were just putting on. And Alexia was like, I was going through so much that I never really paid attention to it, but we should have paid attention to it because she was right about you. And Adriana's like, okay, we bringing up Leah Black. I was like, yeah, why are we bringing her up? Like, she not here, so what's the point about that? You still maintained a friendship with her until now, so bringing her up now didn't make any sense, Alexia. So they continue the conversation and they get to Larsa and they're like, Larsa, why did you feel the need to go back and tell Alexia what Adriana said when y'all were getting massages? And Larsa was like, you never know what you gonna get with Adriana. So I just wanted them to know like what was up, like how she was feeling and why she felt this way. And so Adriana's like, Larsa, why did you butt your, like, this was none of your business. Why were you in it? Like, this is not about you. And Larsa says everything's about me. I don't know why I thought that was funny because I giggled. And they're just sitting there. They're arguing back and forth. Out of nowhere, Adriana gets up and she gives Andy a paper and it's a letter and it says, hey, I forgot, it was like, hey, I'm being abused by Marisol. She doesn't this to me. And sign Marisol's liver. And everyone's like, girl, what? Like, everyone was like, girl, we thought somebody was in the basement, like, locked up. What? Like, even Julia was like, that was in poor taste. So then you see Adriana gets up and she's like, no, I'm being serious. And she gives Marisol a list of AA, like, rehab facilities. And everyone's like, yo. And Andy was like, we were trying to have like a kumbaya moment with you, sis. And you did this. Even Julia was like, that wasn't needed for right now. Y'all were trying to get to a good place. And Marisol was like, girl. And I can't fault Marisol for not wanting to be cool with Adriana. Like, you're sitting here trying to apologize to me or trying to be cool with me, but then you try to play me like that. And I'm not gonna lie, I cackled when it said sign Marisol's liver. Because y'all know I like Marisol, but Marisol need to learn how to drink water or make mocktails, sis. Because it is giving drunkorexic and it's giving AA. But addiction is a serious topic, so to play it down like that wasn't cool, Adriana. Like, you got her, because Andy ended up keeping the letter because you got her, sis. You did get her. So Julia's face looked like disappointed in Adriana, which I understand. So then Adriana and Marisol start going back and forth where she was like, you can't keep using that you was in a dark place. Then they bring up the whole Frankie situation and Adriana's like it was just, and they were all like, she was just in a bad place. I think she zoned out. And it's like, okay, she zoned out, but that is not, you can't use that. Like, I get it. She didn't mean it that way because I don't think she meant it that way. I do think she wanted to hurt Alexia, but I don't think she meant it to really like be that, like thinking that it was going to like dismantle their friendship with that one comment. I do think she wanted to like sting Alexia, but she basically shot her with that analogy. And she's crying. You got Gertie, Julia, and Nicole being like, you guys, she was really like, she's lonely. And I was glad Larsa said, okay, she's lonely. Like, why we keep bringing up that she's lonely and not having a man? And I'm like, a man doesn't equal happiness. These dudes out here are trash. They are trash. You would be happy. You'd probably be more happy to be alone than with somebody, with one of them. Because, it's piss in the dating pool. Let me tell you, it's piss in the dating pool. So I was just like, that's not a good reason for what you did. It's not a good reason. I do feel like Alexia and Marisol haven't been the greatest to Adriana. But I'm not going to sit here and like ride for Adriana because it's like, you are no better at times. And this whole like pity party of like, I'm alone. I don't deserve love. And they're like, we've never said you didn't deserve love. I don't think no one has ever said that. Adriana just be taking it to the far end. Like, you just take it all the way off, and no one said that. They just said you were horrible. Like, no one said that, sis. No one said you didn't deserve love. Like, that you were unlovable. They just said you was horrible. So they bring up Alexia and Frankie with the Demoya Foundation and how it kind of like everyone was kind of sad when Frankie said he was scared to get in the Uber. Look, Ubers, you got to be careful even if you didn't have what Frankie has. You got to be careful because people be going missing in Uber. So I'd be afraid too sometimes. I'd be on the phone with friends. I would be afraid too. So they talk about how Alexia needs to go to therapy. She ain't been to therapy since everything. You know, her mom was her therapist. We found out that her mom was a psychotherapist and everything seemed to be okay. But, you know, with her being gone, they bring up Peter and how she didn't know Peter went and got a loan, which is stupid, to move to Puerto Rico. And she said, when I saw that, I broke down and cried. Nicole chimes in and was like, I think it's a cultural thing because she said, till this day, my mama called me all the time. Marisol talks about how her mom would call her every day, like 30 minutes, to the point where at her firm, like she had her receptionist or her workers to like deflect, like, you know, ignore the calls. Then Mama Elsa would call Alexia, and then Alexia would call Marisol and be like, girl, call your mama because she calling me. She calling me. But everyone says how they want Frankie to do better. They basically end up like wrapping up the season or wrapping up the reunion by Andy asked Marisol and Alexia and Adriana to say kind things to each other. And I do think there's hope for Marisol and Adriana's friendship because Marisol was nice about what she said. And so was Adriana. Adriana pretty much said, you know, I admire the fact that Marisol got out of a dark place and she's even better. And Marisol even said, like, I will help you get there. I will help. Like, I have no problems helping you get there. Alexia was like, you know, your music's wonderful. You know, but you have to be grateful for the things that you have because there's so much things you have in your life to be grateful for. Alexia, like, you know, Adriana, you have a lot of things to be grateful for. So they end the season with everybody being happy. They all like have like a 0 out season because Larsa even says like she cool with Nicole. The whole like out of wedlock comment, she didn't even think it was that deep. Like I said, it won't that deep. And they was moving forward. And they good. I would say I enjoyed this season. I would give this season a solid B+. There were some episodes where I was like, yeah, this is kind of boring. But for the most part, I think Miami is really good. I like the cast. I left liking some people that I didn't like a little bit. Like, I still don't see it for Nicole or Gertie or Julia, but I like them a bit more after this reunion and after this season. There's parts about them that I feel like they showcased this season that made me be like, okay, I see it for you a little bit. Even with Adriana, I see it for a little bit. And I mean that a little bit. But no, I think this is a good cast. I think they should keep this cast. I feel like they can build off this cast and we will continue to see like genuine friendships and genuine arguments and things of that nature. Like nothing manufactured. Like I feel like everything will continue to be I gotta have authentic. That's a better word than genuine. I feel like we'll keep seeing authenticness from all of them. But yeah, y'all, thanks for stopping by. Remember to be bravely authentic and hop down in them comments below. Deuces.